The Gospel of John, chapter 13. The first part of the heading is called Washing His Disciples' Feet. Just before the Passover feast, Jesus knew that the time had come to leave this world to go to the Father. Having loved his dear companions, he continued to love them right to the end. It was supper time. The devil by now had Judas, son of Simeon the Iscariot, firmly in his grips, all set up for the betrayal. Jesus knew that the Father had put him in complete charge of everything, that he came from God and was on his way back to God. So he got up from the supper table. He set aside his robe and put on an apron. Then he poured water into a basin and began to wash the feet of the disciples, drying them with the apron. When he got to Simon Peter, Peter said, "Master, you wash my feet?" Jesus answered, "You don't understand now what I am doing, but it will be clear to you enough later." Peter persisted, "You're not going to wash my feet ever." Jesus said, "If I don't wash your feet, you can't be part of what I'm doing." "Master," said Peter, "not only wash my feet, Lynn, wash my hands, wash my feet and my head." Jesus said, "If you've had a bath in the morning, you only need your feet washed now. You are clean from head to toe. My concern, you understand, is holiness, not hygiene. So now you're clean, but not every one of you." He knew who was betraying him. That's why he said, "Not every one of you." After he had finished washing their feet, he took his robe, put it back on, and went back to his place at the table. Then he said, "Do you understand what I have done to you? You address me as teacher and master, and rightfully so. This is what I am. So if I, the master, the teacher, washed your feet, you must now wash each other's feet. I've laid down a pattern for you. What I've done, you do. I'm only pointing out the obvious. A servant is not ranked above his master. An employee doesn't give orders to the employer. If you understand what I'm telling you, act like it and live a blessed life." The next heading, the one who ate bread at my table. I'm not including all of you in this. I know precisely whom I've selected, so as not to interfere with the fulfillment of Scripture. The one who ate bread at my table turned on his heel against me. I'm telling you all of this ahead of time so that when it happens, you will believe that I am who I say I am. Make sure you get this right. Receiving someone I send in the same as receiving me. Just as receiving me is the same as receiving the one who sent me. And he said these things. Jesus became visibly upset, and then he told them why. "One of you is going to betray me." The disciples looked around at one another, wondering who on earth he was talking about. One of the disciples, the one Jesus loved dearly, was reclining against him, his head on his shoulder. Peter motioned to him to ask who Jesus might be talking about. So being the closest, he said, Master, who? Jesus said, the one whom I give the crust of the bread after I've dipped it. Then he dipped the crust and gave it to Judas, son of Simon the Iscariot. As soon as the bread was in his hand, Satan entered him. What you must do, said Jesus, do it and get it over with. No one around the supper table knew why he said this to him. Some thought that since Judas was the treasurer, Jesus was telling him to buy what they needed for the feast, or he should give something to the poor. Judas, with a piece of bread left. It was night. The next heading, a new command. When he had left, Jesus said, now the Son of Man is seen for who he is, and God seen for who he is in him. The moment God is seen in him, God's glory will be on display. And glorifying him, he himself is glorified. Glory all around. Children, I am with you only for a short time longer. You're going to look high and low for me. But just as I told the Jews, I'm telling you, where I go, you are not able to come. Let me give you a new command. Love one another. In the same way that I love you, you love one another. This is how everyone will recognize that you are one of my disciples, when they see the love that you have for one another. Simon Peter asked, Master, just where are you going? And Jesus answered, you can't now follow me where I'm going. You will follow me later. Master, said Peter, why can't I follow you now? I'll lay down my life for you. Really? You'll lay down your life for me? The truth is that before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. The end of the gospel reading.